Hello everyone, in this video we will learn about unit of time and speed. The basic unit of time is second and its symbol is S. That means whenever we have to represent the second in the form of symbol, then we have to write small s. The larger units of time are minutes that we can represent in the symbol of MIN, and the hours that we represent at small h. Now, since the speed is distance upon time, then the basic unit of speed is meter per second. That means m by s. And of course, we can represent or express it in the higher unit also or in other unit also. That means in minute, meter per minute or kilometer per hour. Now, if you notice the symbol, then the units are always written in singular form. That means we never write kilometers. We always write kilometer. That means 50 km, not kms. Similarly, the 8 centimeter, not centimeters. Different unit of time are used depending on our need. For example, if we want to express the age of any person, then we have to use year, not the days or hours. Similarly, if we want to express the time that is taken to cover a distance between your home to your school, then we will express it into hours or minute, not in years. Now, how small or large is the time interval of 1 second? So the time taken to sing aloud 2001 is nearby 1 second. We can verify it by counting or aloud from 2001 to 2010. That means if we can continuously say that 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, then it around approximately takes 1 second. Now the pulse of a normal healthy adult is around 72 times when it is in rest and around 12 times per second. The rate of the children slightly higher than adult. Now, many time measuring devices were used in different parts of the world before the pendulum clock became popular. That means before we were using the pendulum clock, so before that time, the peoples are using different type of instruments to measure the time. For example, the sundial, water clock, sand clock, and some of other devices are also there that they are using for measuring the time. So these are some of the clocks that were used in ancient time. For example, the sundial at Jantar Mantar, sand clock, and water clock. So these are the few of the devices that were used before we were using the pendulum clock. So before pendulum clock, these type of instruments were used. Now there is an interesting story about the discovery that the time period of a given pendulum is constant. You might have heard the name of the famous scientist Galileo Galilei. In 1564 to 1642 AD, it is said that once Galileo was sitting in the church, he noticed that a lamp suspended from the ceiling with a chain was moving slowly from one side to another. He was surprised to find that his pulse beat the same number of times during the interval in which the lamp completes one oscillation. That means when the lamps complete one oscillation, its pulse rate is also beating at the same time. So Galileo experiment with various pendulum to find or to verify its observation. He found that the pendulum of a given length takes always the same time to complete one oscillation. That means whatever the pendulum material is there or whatever the situation is there, it always take the same time to complete one oscillation if the length of the string is same. Now this observation leads to the development of a pendulum clock. Winding clock and wristwatches are refinement of the pendulum clock. So they are more refined, they are more accurate as compared to pendulum clock. Now measuring speed. So just because we know how to calculate the time and the distance, then we can easily calculate the speed also, because we know that the speed is the distance upon time. So by using this formula, we can easily calculate the speed also. Now there is a small activity. So in this activity, you need a friend, and first of all, you have to make a line by a chalk or a lime on the ground, a straight line, and then we have to stand a friend 1 or 2 meter away from us. Now we have to gently roll the ball on the ground that is perpendicular to the direction of the line. So whatever the line is drawn on the floor, at perpendicular we have to roll the ball. Now we have to note the time, the moment the ball crossed the line, and also when it come to rest. So two positions we have to note. So first is when the ball is crossing the line, and second when it is come in the rest position. So how much time does it take to complete or just to stop? So whenever we are rolling it, so how much time it is taken when it become rest position, and the time when it crossing the line. We can measure the distance between the 2 points by using a scale or a measuring tape. And we can calculate the time by using the watch. So by using the time and the distance, we can easily calculate the speed of any object. So we can also compare our speed when we are walking or we are cycling from one place to another with other. The only thing that you want or you need is the distance. You should know about the distance, that what is the distance between from one point to another, that means from your home to the school, so that you can easily calculate the speed by using the time. So different type of animals or organism are taking different type of time to complete one or a particular distance. For example, chart is there. So this falcon is having the speed of 320 kilometers per hour. Cheetah is having 112 kilometers per hour. Bluefish is having the 40 to 60, 46 kilometers per hour. Rabbit is having the 56 kilometers per hour. Squirrel 19, 11. Domestic mouse. Human being 40 kilometers. Giant turtle 0.27 kilometers per hour. Snail is having the 0.05 kilometers per hour. So according to their speed, we can also calculate the time, and we can also calculate the distance also. For example, if we are having the formula that the speed equals to distance upon time. So we know that the speed equals to distance upon time. So if we have the distance and time, then we can easily calculate the speed. But what happens when we don't have the time but we have the speed? And if you want to calculate the time, in that case, what will happen? The formula will be time equals to distance upon speed. Similarly, if we are having the speed and we are having the time, then we can also calculate the distance, because when we know the speed equals to distance upon time, then the distance will be speed multiplied by time. That means the formula will be distance equals to speed multiplied by time. So by using any two units or any two measurements, we can easily calculate the other thing or the third one. So if we in the examination you will get two values, you can find the other one also or the third one also. Now if you ever observe the vehicle, so in this vehicle we are having two type of meter. First is having this type of meter, the upper one, this one. So this is the speedometer, in which we can easily see the kilometer is written. This kilometer is written, and another meter is also there, in which some numbers are there that are continuously changing when the vehicle is moving. So this is the second meter. So the meter that is measuring the speed of any vehicle, we called it speedometer. It always give the reading in kilometers per hour. So whenever it is moving from one place to another, that means it is calculating or it is denoting the speed of any vehicle, and the number which is written here, so this is the distance that is covered by the vehicle. So whatever the total distance covered by the vehicle, it is denoted here, and this meter is known as the odometer. So the meter that is denoting the speed of any object or any vehicle, we called it speedometer, and the meter that is denoting the distance, total distance of the vehicle, we called it odometer. Now, the smallest time interval that can be measured with commonly available clocks and watch is 1 second. That means if we want to measure the time by using a simple watch or clock, then we are having the smallest time is the 1 second. However, now special clocks are available that can measure the time interval smaller than 1 second. So we are also having some clock that can measure the time interval which is smaller than 1 second. So some clocks can measure the time interval as small as 1 millionth or even 1 billionth of second. So that much fraction of time we can measure by using these clocks. So you might have heard about the microsecond or nanosecond. So 1 microsecond is equal to the 1 millionth of the second, and the 1 nanosecond is the 1 billionth of the second. Now clocks that measure such small time intervals are basically used for the scientific research. It is not used for the daily purpose, it is for the scientific research. Now, the time measuring devices used in sports can measure the time interval that are 1/10 or 100th or second. In our mobiles also we are having the stopwatch, so that can measure the fraction of second which is 1/100 of the second. On the other hand, the time historical events, that means if we want to calculate the historical events, so that can be measured not in millions or second, it can be in the millenniums or centuries. So any historical event is there, so then we can calculate it in centuries or millenniums. Now the age of the star and the planets are often expressed in billions of years, because we know that in years the value will be very much high. So that is why we will express it in billions of years.